Chapter 9, Day 2, Question 1A. Gosh, there's a lot of these two-part questions in this chapter. Well, this is how we're going to do it. So remember the formula, plug, and answer? We're going to be doing formula, plug, and answer. So here's the question here. So we're going to have log base d of m times n. They have a formula here, log base a of x times y, and this is what you do. All you have to do is match up the pattern with this. So you'll notice log base a, log base a, log base a. So ours is going to have log base d, and log base d. This says multiply, but I really add. It says multiply, but I really add. Do you remember that back in chapter 1, in section 5, we had exponents and we had that when it says multiply, you really add? That's because exponents there, logarithms are the opposite of exponents. The rules work. This has x first, y second, so we have an x here and a y here. We have m first, n second. We put an m here and an n there. Oh no, my base d is a little bit high. I'm going to move it down lower because that's a base. This should be the same size as my logarithms. This should be the same size as the logarithms, and these are bases, meaning lower. Question on the left-hand side. You know that I've been teaching you guys to do question on the left-hand side. Some students actually write that for all three of them because of the number of students who can't copy this because they're so concentrating on this side, they can't copy this correctly. Copy it down 3 times. Now, formula, plug, answer. Plug, log base dm. This says that log base dm is equal to 2/3. Plus, log base dn. Log base dn is 7/3. And that gives us 9/3, which is 3. If you would like to have this be 9/3 first and then 3, you can make it into a 4-step problem. That's fine with me. But formula, I want you to use that formula to do this. This formula will be provided to you all of this chapter on your homework, on your quizzes, on your test. Next year in college algebra, it will not be provided to you. So part of this is to help you guys become familiar enough with this that when you get to that chapter in college algebra, that you will have it memorized. So we're going to use the formula using different letters than that. And then we're going to plug in. I will have to give you these numbers, most of which I just made up, just so that you can have practice plugging in these numbers. Some of them won't even be fractions. I'm giving you fractions on the lecture notes because it's the worst possible. And then you combine like terms, and there you have it. Make sure you have the question on the left-hand side. These equal signs should be all lined up beautifully. Formula, plug, answer. Chapter 9, Day 2, Question 1B. Now, last time we had this with multiplication. Now we have it with division. So we have question on the left-hand side. And from last slide, you probably just want to write this out all 3 times because that would be a very sad reason to lose out on half credit. All right, we have the question, we have the question, we have the question. Now, the formula, log base A, log base A, log base A. It says divide, but you really subtract. X came first, y came second, x comes first, y comes second. How do I know x comes first? Because it goes top to bottom and left to right, just like with division. All right, so this is going to be a log with a base of d, with m came first, and a log with the base of d, and n came second. Make sure that the base is lower than this one, which is the same size as the logarithm. Now, log base dm is 2/3. Hey, it was 2/3 last time. minus log base dn is 7/3. It was 7/3 last time. A lot of these, I'm going to keep using the same things over and over. I'll just change these numbers to whatever it is that I said they are. And then 2/3 minus 7/3 gives me negative 5/3. So, formula, plug, answer, question on the left-hand side, equal signs beautifully lined up. This is going to be good. You've come this far in math to add and subtract fractions, or not even fractions, they might just be integers. Chapter 9, day 2, question 2a. My gosh, all these questions have a 2a and a 2b. It means you have to get them all correct in order to get full credit. So, hey, question is going to be on the left-hand side. Remember that we're going to be doing this 3 times? So if you just copy that 3 times, that alone is not going to get you any points. But if it's not there, it's going to lose you points. So let's take a look at the formula. Log base a and log base a. X raised to the n, here's the x, and what happened was that this n goes out to the front. Now, this is actually the reason we have logarithms, is eventually, in 121, we will have formulas where we have x's in the exponent. Wait, in day 1, we had equations with x's in the exponent, and we were able to solve using logarithms. So this 7 is going to go out to the front, regular size. Log, regular size. D is a base. And then m is regular size. That is what the formula says to do. Now, instead of log base dm, we look at log base dm, and that is equal to 2/3. And then we multiply that, and we get 14/3, and we are done. Formula, plug, answer. Question on the left-hand side, equal signs all lined up. It's the same thing. I'm going to give you these formulas, and you're going to have to use them for more in 121. Chapter 9, day 2, question 2b. Again, I give you a formula. Question is going to be on the left-hand side 3 times. Now, if you look at this, we have to write this out 2 different ways. The reason is sometimes I'll give you logs, and sometimes I'll give you ln's and ln's. I want to make sure that you are ready for either of them. So I am going to make sure that you write them out both ways. Now, some people want to know, why is x on the top and a on the bottom? That's because log of x goes on the top and log of a goes on the bottom. So here, log m will go on the top and log n will go on the bottom. Also, you'll have ln m on the top and ln n on the bottom. I want to see both of these. Then you're going to plug in. Log m is 3/8 divided by log n is 3/4. And then you're going to copy dot flip. If you need to show that work, you could possibly do it on the side, you could make it into an extra step, but what's going to happen is you will get, here, let's show it here, 3/8, copy dot flip, 4/3. These will reduce and become 1s. These will reduce and become 1 and 2. This will give you 1/2. Formula. The formula should look just like that, but change to use the letters that I give you. Now, am I ever going to give you an A in this spot and an X in that spot? Probably, because we're going to see how much that confuses you. It's an evil math teacher trick, I'm so sorry. So, we rewrite it, and then if I give you logs and logs, these have to match so that you can use either this formula, or I'll have ln and ln, and then you use this one. Don't have the other formula part written here. Just go and run with the one that I gave you. Again, equal signs all lined up, question on the left-hand side of every single one. This is exactly what I'm looking for full credit. You do not have to show this part here unless you need it. This is exactly what I need to see. Chapter 9, Day 2, question 3 or 4. The reason I say question 3 or 4 is that there's a bunch of different types of problems that I'll be going over. And the thing is I'm going to mess around with where they're located because I want you to understand how to do the problems. Not that, oh, the one in 3A is done like this, the one in 3B is done like this. So here we go. It says 2 steps, plug and reduce. So a question on the left-hand side, many students do not want to copy the question on the left-hand side. Sorry, you're going to have to do that. Otherwise, you won't get all your points. Awkward. All right, log base 3x. I have given you a lot of information, but log base 3x is 2 over log base 4y. Log base 4y is 4. And hey, you've come this far in math to do 2 over 4 is 1/2. Work, answer. Question on the left-hand side, equal signs all lined up. All right, question on the left-hand side. Log base 5z over log base 6w. I know I'm going to have 2 steps, so I'm going to write this out twice, because if I forget to write this, I'm going to lose a half credit. That is a silly reason to lose out on a half credit. All right, log base 5z. Log base 5z is 8, so I plug in an 8 on the top. Log base 6w is 6. I put a 6 on the bottom. I reduce 8 over 6, and I want 4 over 3. Folks, improper fractions are amazing. Don't really want 1 and 1/3. All right? 4 over 3. Plug, answer, question on the left-hand side, equal signs beautifully lined up, working down the page, 2 steps. Chapter 9, Day 2, again, question 3 or 4. I'm going to be messing around with where these problems are located, so be careful. This one has 3 lines to it, and it's going to be using the power rule. Question on the left-hand side 3 times. Lots of people do not want to write the question on the left 3 times. Sorry, it's going to cost you a half point if you don't do that. So, we're going to write it on the left-hand side 3 times. Oftentimes, oh, that one didn't have a Y. Parentheses around the Y, that's cool. Saves us a tiny bit of writing. All right, the power rule says that you take the exponent and go whee out to the front. So we now have a log base 4y out in the front, and then we have a log base 3x afterwards. Now this log and this log are the same. This was an exponent size, but when it went whee out to the front, it became full size. Now, log base 4y. We take a look, log base 4y is 4. This number here is 4. And then, log base 3x. Log base 3x is 2. You have come this far in math. To do 4 times 2 is 8. Bam! Folks, we are not testing you on really hard math here. We want to know, can you use the formulas? If you cannot use the formulas, all is lost, because you'll never get to these lovely 4 times 2 math problems. Can you copy the question on the left-hand side 3 times? Hey, some people are having trouble with that. Question on the left-hand side 3 times. Some people are like, hey, I don't want to do that. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I heard that you wanted to fail this chapter. That is really awkward. Because this chapter, power roll, whee, goes out to the front, is actually kind of cool and has everything to do with an entire chapter in 099. Nope, this is 099 in 121. Log base 5z, we take a look. Log base 5z is 8. Log base 4y, log base 4y is 4. And 8 times 4 is 32. Now, these are variables. I'm using at least one variable because the thing is that I want to give you relatively nice numbers. But the thing is that if you ever look at logarithmic numbers, they're kind of yicky. So I am using these variables to give you a nice number so that we can practice the skills of, hey, what do we do with these? What is the formula? And then just having a very nice and easy plug and answer here. Whereas in 121, in your college class, they will give you the yicky decimals, and you'll just have to deal with those. But for now, we're going to start off nice and cute. Chapter 9, Day 2. Question, again, 3 or 4, because I'll be mixing around the orders on these. Now, it says use the change of base honest. If I were to do the change of base on this would be log x on the top and log 3 on the bottom is equal to 2, which would be 2 over 1. If we were to look at this and think about this would give you log of 3 on the top and log x on the bottom. It's the same thing, only the reciprocal, because we took these two and we swapped them. So all you're going to do is the reciprocal, and I am okay with you just writing equals 1/2. You do not have to write this, you do not have to write that. So let's take a look at this, log base z5. So the 5 and the z flipped from this one, which has a z and a 5. So we're going to reciprocal this. Now, if you don't have the equal sign, then you'd better write all this stuff on the left-hand side, then the equal sign, and then the reciprocal, which would be negative 3 over 5. If you want to use the question, I'll let you use the question on this one because it's so quick. Here, we have a y in the base and a 4. So here, it's the reciprocal of this one. We just swap those two. So 2 over 3, this is 3 over 2. Now, I show this to you after the previous questions, but I'm going to tell you that somewhere along the line, on your other questions that we just covered, I'm going to be sneaking these in also. So sorry. So be careful about this. Here, w and 6 were swapped, and so this is going to be negative 1 over 6. It's the reciprocal, so if you think about it like that, we just flipped it over. The negative doesn't usually go in the denominator, it usually goes in the front or in the numerator. And that is all you have to do. So, least amount of work, that would be it. I just did 4 of these problems. Chapter 9, Day 2, again, question 3 or 4, it's going to be mixed up. So, stuff cancels. Some of these slides are brought to you by a student from one of the semesters that had trouble with these in MAT 121, which is your college algebra. If you think back to day 1, stuff canceled. The opposite of log base 3 is 3 to the, that cancels and it equals 2, because that's all that's left over. ln and e are opposites of each other. They cancel and all that's left is 3. 5 to the and log base 5 are opposites. These cancel and all you're left with is 4. E to the and ln are opposites. They cancel and all you're left with is 5. Question on the left, equal sign, answer on the right. Question on the left, equal sign, answer on the right. You don't have to be doing these, but if you need to do those, you may do those. Question on the left equals answer on the right. E to the and ln cancel and give you 1. X to the and log base x, just like in chapter 9, day 1, question 4, those cancel and give you 4. ln and e cancel and give you, it gives you the exponent. This one doesn't have an exponent, so think back to chapter 1. The invisible exponent is 1, so therefore the answer is 1. And over here, log base x, x, those cancel, and you are left with 6. Now, something that's not on here that is going to be on your college algebra is going to be saying like log 1. A log, when it doesn't have a base given, actually has an invisible base of 10, which we do not write in. And then 1 is 10 raised to the what power? Think back to chapter 1 again. So much of this is based on chapter 1. 10 to the what power is equal to 1. If you have to go back and review chapter 1, section 5, so much of what we've done in 099B is based on that one chapter and section. 10 to the 0th power. So therefore these will cancel and you will get 0. Same if you had ln of 1. ln is actually a log base e. Please do not write log base e. It is an ln. You do not write log base e. And then this would be e to the 0 power. So this would also be 0. Again, do not write log base e. This is an ln. ln and e to the 0 is 0. This is saying coming up next year. This is what we have for this year. But we do have some tricky problems here. Some of these actually will be on your test or quiz or homework.